It's not Monday. What am I saying? Happy Motivational Tuesday. I should have said Tone Up Tuesday, but I thought I might confuse a few of you out there. It was a long weekend in the States. I hope you guys had a good one. I just want to make sure I'm coming through on the other end. Massage is one of my favorite ways to use a vibration plate. But depending on your mobility, where you might be starting from, those types of things, it's really heavily dependent on your range of motion as to what type of massage you can perform. So today and tomorrow at the same time, today we're going to do what I call direct massage positions. So that's positions where you have the ability to get down upon the floor and, more importantly, the getting back up. It's never the getting down on the floor. It's getting yourself back up. So I don't want you doing anything that you're not ready for. If you are able to get down on the ground and back up, whether that takes a little bit of time and you got to do it in your way, or you're able to do that naturally, you are increasing a lot of circulation. You got a lot of lymph moving. So just, don't stand up too quickly at the end of this, or if you have to jump up partway through the routine. We're going to focus primarily on, and this is hard to say, just direct massage. Some of you, why would I be wanting to do direct massage positions? So let's start with the obvious one, which is skin tone and cellulite and the skin surface type stuff. The skin is an organ, and even though we're massaging certain areas, I used to do cellulite classes in my studio back in the day, and very commonly, as much as I'd like you to do the work, the squats, the lunges, the exercises where we're challenging our muscle groups, burns calories and gives us that tone and the shape. But the skin surface, if you have lost a lot of weight, or you've got older skin, or just lifestyle related, and the skin surface isn't as subtle and supple and tight as it used to be, massage is a good way to target the skin tone. And because we're massaging certain areas, there will be an overall effect. I used to see it all the time. We'd be massaging our bums and our thighs, and I literally would notice my clients lifting in certain areas, but not obviously putting those parts directly on the machine. Tomorrow will be more about standing massage positions. Yes, I'm going to call them standing massage positions because we're doing them for feel good or recovery reasons. We're not doing squats and push-ups and exercise positions. So I don't, I want to leave lots of time for questions because this is a big topic. And as I am breaking it into 2 sessions, if it's related to poor mobility and I ain't got it and I can't do it today, join me more tomorrow, same time, same place, Wednesday at 6 p.m. Today, we're focusing for those of you that can get down upon the ground and up of your own ability. And the next round of questions I know is going to be, how long can I do this for? How often can I do this for? Massaging, just like exercising, is really it's a depends answer. So maybe you're massaging because it just feels good and it's a stress relief thing, or maybe you're massaging because you're trying to expedite recovery or heal yourself from something. So your approach, when you're using something for feel good or maintenance, might be a little bit different as far as your, how often and at what settings than if you're dealing with something, or maybe you've got a chronic issue. Just like a massage gun or an infrared sauna, there is no cookie cutter, way to use any of these tools for you personally. Massage today, in my opinion, if you're an experienced user, you absolutely can do it in conjunction with other things you're doing now. So the massage is separate to the workout, and it's a good way to recover after the workout. But many of us don't think about it's also a good warm up. So if you're doing athletic training, if you've got tension or spasticity, there's things going on with your body. Massage before you do exercise or other therapies is a really good tool as well. And of course, a vibration machine is nothing more than a tool that makes whatever you're doing more effective. Now, the good part about them is, of course, you can't massage on a treadmill or an elliptical or with your bike. You can certainly gain benefit and help muscle groups. Hang on, I'm just seeing a little bit of light. I've got so many lights on here. Just give me a second. I feel, just wait. I think the camera has a mummy's finger smudge on it there. All right. So For those of you that are just joining me today, you'll notice I have no stool. That's tomorrow's session. As far as, what do I need? You don't really need anything, but depending on your sensitivity, there's a few items I might recommend. I have first of all, this comes with some machines. If you did not get a mat with your machine, it's just a nice thick yoga mat that LifePro has put some time and love into cutting for the size of whatever machine it is that you're using. I rarely use a mat. I've been doing this a long time, and the parts I like to massage have enough padding. But as we're going to be doing a variety of things with some upper body as well today, you might need padding for certain areas, elbows, sticky outy hip bones, things like that. So it's a good idea to have a mat just for cushioning, whether it's the machine itself, the floor that you're holding yourself upon. Today, I'm using also the Aeroflex step because I like to work with more surface the level of the machine. So if you do, if you're working on that range of motion, or you just want to have a little bit more of a lazy experience, using the step that gets you the same, area, the height of the machines to hold your upper body or lay your back on, just gives you a little bit more surface to maneuver on. And you may use your mat on that. Another very inexpensive must-have tool, go to your local, wherever you can get these. This is a swimming pool noodle that I have cut into pieces. Usually you can get a good couple of chunks out of your machine, or the width of your machine. I have a couple different variations. Notice how one is cut lengthways. If you're seated, we'll use this one more tomorrow for some seated exercise massage positions. But today, if you got bad knees, bad hips, if you've ever done any rolling at all, I know Amber's done a couple sessions on this as well. A pool noodle is a little less dense than your traditional roller that you may use for those types of applications. And because you're marrying it with the stimulation from the vibration machine, you want something that's not going to thrash about. You want something that's going to work with you and absorb and transmit the vibration. So this is good for, areas, the back of the knees, the Achilles, under the kneecap, areas that maybe it's hard to get them in direct contact with the machine. Just like a massage gun or any other tool, if you can find a way to maneuver, this is where I want you to stay curious and use your imagination. 9 times out of 10, there's a way that you can get that body part on the machine. It's just a matter of whether it feels good or not. So I would normally start, if you're just doing a massage session, this is all you're doing, do a standing, a couple of pelvic tilts or a couple of standing exercises just to kind of get the system moving and flowing. If you do deal with arthritic issues, arthritic pain, any kind of pain, generally the machine will give you some relief. So get on it for a minute or two, standing total body before you get down on the ground. It's going to help you with your mobility. So the first exercise we're going to start with, we're going to work with lower body massage positions, and I'm going to show you a couple for the torso area because I know the girls want to know. And then we're going to talk about bat wings and upper body and, what is okay. It really depends on you and your tolerance. That's all this boils down to. So if you do have any body parts that are not, in good shape and you're recovering, or you're sensitive, you need to consider massage just like exercise positions. Start conservatively. I never, ever, ever start anybody on a slow speed. That's my personal preference. The slow speeds are very choppy, very destabilizing. And for today's purposes, massage, we're not standing on the machine. We're not doing a push-up. We're not bearing our mass in a structural way that we have to support our weight. We're just relaxed and we're just chilling. So all the mass that's involved in the equation is the muscle groups. And in this one, we're starting with the calves. So from a speed perspective, I'm working on the Rumblex today. I like it a mid to high. High end is, I've been doing this a long time. If you do have sensitivities, if you have lots of varicose veins and spider veins, if you have any conditions that want you increasing circulation, but it's poor now, be conservative also on your time. 30 seconds to a minute per exercise today, per position, I'll say. Even though I may talk longer than that, it's a good starting point. You can do all of the moves today if you want to look at this as a session, but if you have a chronic area or maybe just something you want to complement to your additional workout time, maybe 1 or 2 poses from today. It doesn't mean you have to do them all the time. So for this one, we want the heels just past the surface of the plate. I'm working, this machine has 60 speeds. I'm set at 45. If you want more intensity, just like when you're standing, there's this mentality that wider is more benefit. Well, it's more movement, it's more impact, it's more shake. The machine is moving that body part further. So if this is uncomfortable, bring them closer. Depending on what you're massaging, the thighs, the bum, where there's a little bit more meat on the bones, I tend to be able to take on a little more speed and intensity than my calves and my arms, because they're smaller and there's not as much meat on the bones. So you may find yourself changing the setting, but I prefer for massage a higher speed with a conservative, kind of right down the middle on the placement of the legs. If you want more intensity, try moving them an inch or 2 wider. So on this one, if you do have tight calves, they're weak, this is an area you're supposed to be paying attention to anyways. While you're massaging, feel free to do some variations. Reach for the toes, point. If you want to stretch the hamstrings, it kind of just feels natural to do this. If you're dealing with knee issues like me, and depending on the length of your legs, you may need to do the underside of your legs in 2 or 3 reps because of the length of your legs. For this one, my knees are just on the plate, and I want to target the back of my knees a little bit more specifically. So the heels are still hanging off the edge, but now the pool noodle is wedged up under my knees, and it feels amazing. But if, maybe a strength, maybe you're doing lifts, just another little variation. A lot of my tension is on the outer tendons and connective tissue on the outside edge. So I roll my body this way to get on the outer edges. And you can do this in the calf massage as well. Experiment with your angles and your positions on the machine. You'll find what feels comfortable. This is an individual experience, and you're going to find your own individual sensitivities to the settings. So the next one we're going to do is the hamstrings. This is a really, really common one in my CP group. For those of you that are dealing with spasticity up the back of the legs, the hamstrings are tight. If you have restless legs, doing the calves, and the reason I like the step here is now you can just sort of shimmy forward. Otherwise, you have to get up off the ground, which is totally fine. You can do all of these on the ground as well. So now, depending on the length of your legs. Now, for me, I want your knees bent and off the plate with the calves and the feet. My tailbone is not on the machine, and it certainly wouldn't be on the mini. So I do the backs of my thighs and my glutes in 2 different reps because I can't physically fit them on the machine. You do not want to do this stuff this way just because it's not the way to do it. It's just not. So right down the middle, I like to position myself with the controls between my legs. So if I want to crank it up a bit or slow it down. If you're sensitive to head vibration, lean forward. The more you lean forward, the less vibration, the straighter you stand up. Even though my spine is not in movement, it's the shaky side to side. The upper body is like a pendulum. Or you can lean back, put your hands on the ground, and you can get into it this way as well. Okay? If stretching is something you're supposed to be doing anyways, again, just like the calf massage, we can reach for those toes, point the toes, all the while we're getting massage on the skin tone and the hamstrings. Now, the next one, I would normally move forward, and once you get your tailbone in contact with the plate, anybody dealing with spinal issues or my spine specialists out there, if your bum is positioned directly in the middle of this plate, you're moving fractions of a millimeter. There is very, very little impact. For those of you that want more movement and more shake, widen up the legs like a V. It moves the thighs more, but still minimal impact on the spine. If it's uncomfortable because you're fighting and you're resisting and you're guarding and you're protected. And when you fight the vibration, we tend to become rigid and actually amplify it. So just relax and either lean forward or lean backward. And again, same effect. But this is, I like massaging the skin tone on this 52-year-old butt. So the first addition I want to add while you're seated And one of my favorite ways, because I'm all about combining, the less time I have to spend doing this kind of stuff and the more benefit I can get, the better. I like to combine some upper body movements a little bit more directly while I'm seated on the plate. So you can do that in two ways. Your elbows, once they become in contact with the legs, so you can put your elbows on your thighs and you'll feel a slight movement in between the shoulder blades, the neck. My preferred way is to sit on my hands. So you take your hands, tuck it under the butt cheeks, palms down on the plate. This is also fantastic if you're dealing with any sensitivities in the hands, arthritis. Sometimes push-ups are more traditional positions. You know, it's hard on the wrists or you're not doing them now, but you can get a lot of action into the hands, the wrists, the arms, and the shoulders just by becoming part of the movement. So now that the heels of the hands are in contact with the plate, you can hear it in my voice too. Again, you can lean forward, lean backward a bit. And the more you kind of play with your angles, you'll feel it in different areas of the arms. On this one, I love to get actually as straight as possible, stick out my chest, focus on my breathing, and just relax. Breathe in, relax. Head vibes are not harmful. It just takes time to get used to them. If you have sensitivities, new dental teeth, or new dental work, or ear work, eye work, anything like that, common sense applies, of course. The next one I want to show you is to move into the low back. So this one, if you are thin in this area, or you just got a troublesome back, a little tip that I love to do is I've got a longer mat and I lay the middle of it down the machine and the rest of it is on the step to give me like a little cushion. You're going to love this. Grab yourself your favorite little pillow. Okay, so you're sitting on the machine now, almost at this end, because once you lay down, you want to get as much of that tire or the low back on the machine as possible. So we're just going to lay down. Oh, now we're talking. Okay, so what ends up happening on this one, you want to make sure, like I say, you've got it just sort of from the waist down. You can certainly play with your angles. Put your arms on the ground. Lean this way if you want to get out into that outer hip. Maybe on that side of the back a bit more. This side too. You guys seeing me okay? I'm going to bring the camera down just a hair more. There. Okay. All right. So you can leave your feet flat on the ground if that's comfortable. It creates a little bit of an arch in the small of the back and it becomes a little bit more on the lower glutes. This is good if you're dealing with incontinence or constipation because you feel the vibration a little bit more in those areas. For the low back, bring the knees up. It puts a little bit more body weight into the equation, but it forces the back, and especially if you're trying to do this for skin tone, it puts the low back into the machine this way, okay? This one, a lot of my guys like to do as their own thing once or twice after, a workout. The next one we're going to progress to is the outer thigh, hip, and waist. And we're going to stay in the same basic position. Now, if you don't have a step, you're going to position yourself up on the forearm. I got the pillow. I'm here for the long haul. So it's just like you're laying down on the couch and watching TV. So the hip is the point of contact. Start with your, oh, I just hit the button. No, I've talked 10 minutes. Okay. Again, I'm working in a mid to high speed range. I'm setting mine at 45. This goes 60. Okay. So the hip, I'm placing in the middle of the plate. I want to get the waist. We're going to lay down on our side. Okay, and you'll feel the outer thigh and the hip on this. If once you're in this position, you want a little bit more intensity, sit back up, move yourself slightly away from the center, and you'll feel the amount of movement increase. So just off center is more than comfortable for me. And I'll do this one again, 30 seconds to a minute is really all you need, unless you're doing just the one position. But as a whole routine, that's more than enough, guys. shift your weight forward, backward, experiment with your angles. Again, if you're sensitive on the skin, you tend to bruise easily, you may want to use a mat. So the next one we're going to move on to is the top of the thighs, okay? This one, we're kind of the same setup. You're going to ditch the pillow. You can use the mat if you need to. I'm not going to because I don't want to belly flop in front of you. But this one, you're gonna get on it with your knees. The kneecaps are just off the machine. We're laying, oh, I hit the power button. Me and my old model, but I love it. Okay, so we're laying depending on the length of the thighs again. Kneecaps are just off. You can hold yourself up off the ground, or I'm laying on the step. And again, if you want more intense, position your legs wider apart. Bend at the knees. I don't like doing this one with my legs like this. I mean, it feels comfortable, but it bugs my knee after a while. It depends, try it out, but I prefer like this. And you get more weight into it as well. And same thing, play with the angles of your lower body, twist and turn. It really depends where you want to feel it. This is a really, really good one for the skin tone, but if you have tension, or as a warm-up, it's a really good one as well. So one last one, and this really requires you to be on your range of motion game. Inner thigh, okay? Everything out of the way. You're going to lay down on your side. You're going to do both sides, but we're going to lay down on our side directly in front of the machine, and your inner thigh here, you're going to hook that part just at the top of the thighs. And again, depending on where you line your leg up, you're going to feel it move more or less. And then I'm just twisting at the waist, and you'll feel, as opposed to here where the leg lifts off the inside, keep twisting if possible. Lean over the machine, put your arm on there, experiment. Again, a minute maybe per pose on this one. You don't need to do these every day. I certainly do have people that do these every day. It takes a lot of time to do all the massage. I tend to have 2 or 3 usuals that I do either as a warm-up, or maybe I'm doing them both before or after. I don't do all the moves all the time. I like the knee massage and the calf massage. I love doing the back. And then as summer comes, I get a little bit more conscious about the skin tone on the thighs. So, it's a seasonal thing for me too. So I wanted to show you now a couple variations on a couple that we did there. It's a big question that I get, and I don't like to do, videos just on it, but many ask you, can we massage our tummy on the plate, or the boobs, or those types of areas? You really got to use common sense. Are those things you're massaging when you go to the masseuse? Maybe there's reasons, lymphatic massage or reasons that you are, but typically I recommend keeping the girls directly off the plate. Not saying I don't have clients that haven't done that, but I don't know what hardware anyone may be dealing with. I do have many clients, and I myself do the tummy on the plate. The tummy on the plate is a variation of the thigh massage. So I'm going to show you this one without the step, just to show you the variation. So you're really only getting from the belly button to here. You don't want to go up into the rib cage. It's not necessarily it's not harmful, but it's uncomfortable, and it starts moving the lungs, and the air around in the lungs, and it kind of affects your breathing. For many of my clients with COPD or emphysema or lung issues, they like that kind of thing. But it's just something. It's a different sensation I want to warn you about. For the goal of this, the controls are on this side, and I'm going to lean forward a little further up than I did for the, I did it again. A little further up than I did for the thigh massage. Oh my word. So I'm just from the belly. Oh, I keep doing this. Joel's going to kill me. I got to get a real model going here. Okay. So I've got from the belly button on the plate, it's about halfway down on my thighs. And then I just lift and do this again. I'm on the forearms. this natural little sway in the back presses the tummy in. Now, if you do have sticky outy hip bones, this is one that you may want to put a mat on the plate for. Again, I've got, padding, and I've got pants and a shirt on today, padding that area. But if you're sensitive, like I say, to bruising, or you're quite thin, you may find that you need to add a little cushion. The tummy, 30 seconds to a minute. Any of these, if you've been down on the ground for a few minutes massaging with me, just give yourself a second, catch your breath before you stand up. If you are dealing with poor circulation, or you're just getting, new to these exercises, a lot of times you stand right back up and you get this big head rush and blood flow going on. And I want to make sure that you're getting up in your own pace. For those of you, again, that are lacking mobility, adding the step or something similar to this just gives you a little bit less load to get down to, and it just gives you a little bit more surface, the height of the machine that you can use to maneuver yourself around. It's a great all-around tool. I've always used a step or a block for lots of massage, but for fitness as well, it just makes it more functional in training if you're using tools like this and getting more real estate the same height as the machine. So just a quick recap with any of the massages that I did today. How long do I do this for? I'm sure some of you have your own answer to that question as far as what you'd like to do. You can overdo anything if you're dealing with chronic issues, MS, fibro, those types of things. It's easy to do one of these exercises for 10-20 minutes because the relief it gives you. But keep in mind, there is still movement. There is a huge surge of blood flow and circulation, the blood flow, circulation, lymphatic movement. And if you are feeling like you've overdone it, like you're sore the next day, it absolutely could be the massage. It's not like you're doing exercises, but there's a lot of stimulation going on. Not uncommon as well when you over massage is you might feel a little ill tomorrow. A lot of people, that vibration machine, it made me sick. You know what? When you're moving vast amounts of lymphatic movement and detoxification really starts ramping up, yes, symptoms may present. And symptoms are just simply your body going through the process it needs to go through. So if it's expediting toxins and you're feeling a little bit fluish or sneezing or allergy kind of feeling the next day, make sure that you're hydrated. I wouldn't stop using the plate. Obviously, you've started a process. If you were taking medication and the prescription was for 3 weeks and, you got a little dizzy the first day in and that was a known side effect, would you stop? No, you would stick with that prescription. So keep with the movement. Don't give your lymphatic system a jolt and then do nothing with it. Sometimes doing a little bit of light lymphatic movement, whether it's some of this massage or this standing versions we'll be doing tomorrow, is a great way to just help your body heal and recover faster. So whether you're doing massage for feel good, whether you're doing it in complement to your fitness, how often and how long is really a personal choice. But for those of you just starting out, and for those of you that are dealing with chronic issues, please be conservative, use common sense, and more realistically, just be realistic. If you're looking to lose 100 pounds, your massage is going to help, but it's not going to, you need to do other things and look at what's in the fridge, and you need to be doing squats. I had people lose 20, 30 pounds just doing this. Yeah, I have. I don't want to say I wish it wasn't true, but how your body reacts to, improved systems, whether that's through circulation, whether that's through lymph. Often when we're moving and feeling better, we start doing other things. So maybe you're more active and it's a ripple effect. The good news is with massage, just like, your massage gun or your massage chair, the benefits of doing some of the exercises today, I did offer some weight bearing. You're also going to not only, move and feel better, but there is some bone density equations anytime you're doing movement on these plates. So, if you're just starting out from a passive place and are looking at maybe shake up to the routine, I challenge you to grab a couple of these and try them as a warm up and maybe do a few of them as a recovery as well. with your existing routine. What we did today would have been more of a whole routine in itself, and it's probably a good idea if you're doing lots of massage. It's a good complement as an off day routine. Maybe you had a big gym day or you play lots of sports. An off day for massage and stretching and those types of things is a great way to, when people say, well, I used my plate yesterday and played sports, can I use my plate again today? It really depends on what you're doing on it. So whatever it is that you're doing on it, be consistent for best results. Thank you for joining me for today's session. I want to see if anybody's got any questions here for me. Hello, Carol. How are you? Would you recommend have a good one for recovering meniscus with the noodle? Yes, the noodle's kind of a universal, like you have to have a pull noodle if you have anything to do with your knees or your arches or your feet. It's just a really good way to not only relieve tension. It's not the meniscus so much itself, Carol, or the injury, but what we end up doing is it's how the body compensates for that injury. So the other side gets all screwed up, or your knee and its alignment and how you walk, your gait, everything changes. So you've got these new sore spots and weak spots. If you've got the ability to get down on the ground, yes, that's a good one for the meniscus. I didn't show you this one, Carol. There's so many variations. So I showed you how to massage the back of the knee. So if I've been out and like wearing heels or, doing things I'm not supposed to, my pain is here. It's under the kneecap. So I lay it on the machine and I kneel on it. I either kneel on it like this, or this is my favorite back move, is laying on it like this. And depending on the knee, maybe you don't want a whole lot of action. So put them close together and put the majority of the weight on the good knee and decide how much you want on that torn meniscus side or that meniscus issue. Can I use a machine? If I have inflammation, can I do massage? You know what, guys, if you don't know yet that, improving your body actually causes inflammation, and it's just a process that your body goes through when you're exercising, it's what it does. Excessive inflammation is a whole separate conversation. But to get rid of, inflammation, be it arthritis, be it something else that you might be dealing with, inflammation will improve if you stick consistently with being active. It's to what degree, so don't start out and try doing 15, 20 years and making up for what we haven't done in the past. Start at a moderate but consistent movement is really going to, just improve so many other things in the long run. I hope that makes sense. What level do you recommend for the Rumblex EG? Chuck, I never talk levels or speeds. It's really important to me after 20 years as a trainer that you understand there's 3 things that you guys control on these machines. And there is no diet pill. There is no universal setting for this. There is no preset for that. There's different movement types. So on the Rumblex, you have oscillating. All of my sessions are in oscillating. It's the most functional. All of Life Pro's models offer it. So it doesn't matter if you got a mini or you were able to get into a Rumblex. Everyone has pulsation. For me as a trainer, there's more benefit and more adaptability for you as the user. So on your Rumblex, today I was using the oscillating setting, and I was at the 45 range for the massage. I find when we have the meaty parts on in a relaxed way, Chuck, it's much more comfortable. Pulsation is a very mild vertical. Anything feels good. The difference between oscillating and pulsation is amplitude. And amplitude is a term we do not talk about enough. Everybody actually knows what it is, but you don't relate to its importance. Amplitude is your intensity. When you're in oscillating, it's how wide or how close your feet are. So in oscillating, you've got the most ability to adapt on the fly, too strong, I want it stronger. It's just a matter of changing the position of your hands or feet. And that's why I prefer, Chuck, a higher speed range for these, because, we're not doing squats or push-ups. In pulsation, you have very little amplitude. I think you got about 0.5 up and down. So if you're looking at your manual and it says that you have 7 or 8 millimeters, that's the movement in amplitude. So amplitude on your oscillating is measured at the outer edge of the plate. In pulsation, it's higher speeds. So your speeds and your actual frequencies in vertical are higher. But this is one of those instances where, 50 doesn't necessarily mean more or better than 20. The machines move completely different, and how far and how fast they move are completely different. The last motion, which is lateral, it has quite a bit amount of amplitude at how far it moves side to side. I think it's about 6 or 7 millimeters also. And I think the frequency is about 12, 13. So it would equate to whatever your top speed is on. So you've got 3 movements, this, and this. And the range of frequencies is different for each of them. But on massage for today, I prefer on the higher end of whatever type of movement you prefer. There's different types, and what feels good to you for where you're at personally is absolutely a personal choice. If you're very severe and you're dealing with like really bad neuropathy or things like that, I would suggest maybe trying pulsation. It's a little bit milder, but I think you'll soon find more benefit and more progression if you're using oscillating on a regular basis. I hope that makes sense. Carol, I hope I answered your question. Chuck, I hope I just didn't leave your head spinning. I'm not a big fan of lateral. It's just a personal choice. And I'm so old school from the science of, there's this type of movement and then there's this type of movement. That's kind of it in the research world. What's out there now is really driven by you, the consumer. I want one that's purple and I want one that's got, white stickers. So a lot, the lateral, the combo movements is not necessarily more benefit, but it does give you a little bit more variety. So when you're selecting a plate, you can do any of the moves I do in any of my sessions on any plate, but it's important for me to convey to you the differences in the movement to achieve, just a customized feel for you. There is no one number. There's different body types and different goals, and there's different tolerances. And that's what I really try to empower you with. I hope that makes sense. If you're watching this on a recorded basis and you have a question, or I've talked you to sleep and you thought of something after the fact, please just make a comment, but tag me at Debbie with a Y. It's the best way to get my attention, because I get several messages in the course of a day about vibration plates. And if it's something private or specific, yes, you may direct message me, but if it's something anyone else can benefit from, or if it's something I need to clarify for or add to today's session, I want to make sure that you get the benefit of that. I wanted to move on before we leave very quickly. I mentioned I would show you this part. I forgot to show you how to do this part. I showed you this part. This also requires a little bit of range of motion, and you can use this with or without the pull noodle. It's kind of up to you. This is really hard and scientific. Grab that pillow again, place it at one end of the machine, lay flat on your back, and simply place this arm upon the plate and move it. So whatever kind of feels good to you. I'm going to do this slow so you can see it. But if you're at the further end, you're going to be moving it more. If it feels like it's too shaky, bring your arm closer to the center and just sort of roll it back and forth on the plate to target that area. See what feels good. You can also flip over. Yes, you can. I have this too close to the wall to show you. But you can lay down in front of it and drape the arm over top of it as well. You are only limited by your imagination and your range of motion. And I know it seems like a bit of a ripoff that I'm saying, only a minute per pose. But the number one reason I have issues and have side discussions with people, nobody looks at the manual. Everybody hops on this thing and cranks her up for full time and just figures the machine's going to do all the work. And, the easiest way to overdo any activity is to go full bore first time out. So if you're feeling sore, if you're feeling a little fluish or sickish, or, you have no energy at all after you first used your vibration plate, chances are you overdid it first time out. So be conservative. If you're using this for symptom management or chronic issues, use it as often as you like, but keep your sessions short, 2 to 3 minutes, very specific. And through that consistent regular use, not only will you improve your symptoms, but you're going to boost your energy, you're going to reduce your pain, and all the other things that come with that. So thank you again, guys, for joining me today. Tomorrow, part 2 will be at the same time, 6 p.m. Eastern time, 3 p.m. Pacific. This will be recorded tomorrow as well. And again, if you do have questions, do not hesitate to post a tag at Debbie with a Y. Thank you for joining me, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's session and it gave you some new ideas. Experiment and stay curious, guys. I look forward to seeing some feedback if you're trying any of these out tonight. Thanks for joining me, guys.